President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are expected to meet today to discuss phase 2 of the Gaza ceasefire. Joining us now with what to expect, Michael O'Hanlon, Brookings Institution Director of Foreign Policy Research. Good to see you, Michael. Good morning. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Likewise.
Are you surprised that it's lasted this long, and is it misleading to say that? How are things right now in terms of the ceasefire?
Well, again, happy holidays to you as well, and thanks for having me on. I think it's still an extreme long shot if this plan can work. You know, the idea of a Palestinian state has been at the core of American diplomacy towards the Middle East for 30-some years, but it's become increasingly unrealistic as the years have gone by. Certainly October 7th, 23 pushed things even further in the unrealistic direction. And although Israel's now eliminated a large fraction of Hamas, the fundamental idea of having an international force come in and secure Gaza en route to reconstruction, and then someday the creation of a Palestinian political authority and even a state, this is wonderful in theory, but it's eluded us in practice for a whole generation. And the specifics about disarming Hamas, about finding countries that would deploy military forces into Gaza, about convincing Israel to accept whatever work those international forces might do to disarm Hamas and monitor the ceasefire. Every one of these propositions is still extremely unlikely individually. You put them all together, and I do not expect this plan to work. I would love it if it would. I'd love to be proven wrong, but this is still a very, very long shot proposition.
So Netanyahu's opposed to a Palestinian state. Would you say that his successor or Israel as an entity is opposed to that?
I don't believe that Israel supports the idea now as a political entity. And I think this was always a divisive issue in Israel. But since October 7th, 2023, Israeli politics have shifted. And the willingness to countenance a territory controlled by Palestinians, where a group like Hamas could infiltrate, whether the other Palestinians there wanted that to happen or not. This has become, I think, a very hard thing for Israelis to accept in the aftermath of the terrible tragedy 2 years ago. So I'm not going to claim that it's impossible forever. But right now, Netanyahu is more at the center of Israeli politics on this issue than he used to be. He used to be, right wing, half of the equation. Now he's sort of right down the middle, I'm afraid.
Right. Will President Trump discuss this? And will he urge Netanyahu to be more flexible?
He might, but the question is, what will Netanyahu say in reply to try to deflect that pressure? And I think Netanyahu will talk about the things I just mentioned. How do we make sure Hamas disarms? How do we find a way to keep it disarmed? Who's going to do that monitoring? Who's going to do that peacekeeping? Netanyahu's going to remind President Trump, I'm sure, that no country has yet signed up to be part of that international force in Gaza. And so I think Netanyahu may pay lip service to the theoretical long-term idea of a Palestinian state, or at least not repudiate it in the White House the way he has in his own country. But he's going to talk about all these short-term obstacles and requirements as a way to deflect any pressure. That's my expectation.